Good morning, good morning. Okay, we are day 3 with our starters. So today we're gonna feed them. I wanna check in with you guys, show you how mine are doing. And yes, this is pajama time with Kelsey every day. This is the mixed starter. So all purpose and whole wheat in here. Doing good. I see some bubbles. I don't really see much liquid. Oh, there's a little bit at the bottom. I want to show you guys this. If you get liquid in little pockets, totally normal. It can either accumulate on the top or you'll see some separation. Sometimes it's even right in the middle. You're totally fine if that happens to you. So don't stress about where the liquid is, but the liquid is a good sign. So this one, the all-purpose is getting smaller bubbles, but lots all throughout. So it's just interesting how they're different. See, this has some liquid down there. That's what we want to see. Look, it's like this guy knows me. It's like the whole wheat knows that it's home. And look at these awesome bubbles. Okay, so now it's time to feed our starter. Okay, we left it yesterday. We gave it a good rest, gave it time to accumulate. Now I'm going to take these coffee filters off, whatever you've been using on the top, and I am gonna feed it. So here's what we wanna do. Now, you're gonna see like maybe some dark stuff on it. See that? That's just kind of dried out on top. Totally fine. Whew, if you smell it, it does not smell good. Blech. It does not smell good, okay? That's because you're capturing all of that yeast, okay? You're getting the good and the bad, and we're gonna balance it out. So just for those of you who thought you were gonna make bread this week and you started your starter yesterday, that's not gonna happen. So you need to give it time to develop the correct balance of yeast and bacteria and really get going before you think about bread. So we are gonna get rid of about half of each of these. So get rid of half of the starter in your jar. I'm gonna do that and come back, so I'm not taking too much of your time, but get rid of half, scoop off like the top half, throw it down the drain, throw it in the garbage, whatever you want to do with it, and then we'll come back and feed. Okay. Woof, that's so gross. Oh, it reeks, you guys, but it's okay, stick with me. I promise it's gonna be okay. So we wanna add a 1/4 cup of water. Guarantee we're gonna add more, but 1/4 cup of water, remember that non-chlorinated or filtered water, to each jar. And then I pre-measured out a 1/2 cup of my flours. So the mixed flour, the all-purpose, and the whole wheat. And I need to grind some more whole wheat. So add the water, then I just give it a little stir around. There's, you know, a little bit of starter in there now and some water. And once again, what you're looking for is more of a texture than a measurement. So start with the measurements and then add water as you need to. So just to show you on this whole wheat one, I'm just gonna add my flour. Then I'll come back after I've done them all. But I do wanna show you. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is gonna make it super thick. So it's very dry in there. I'm definitely gonna add some more water to that. I'm gonna add a couple more tablespoons. See how it goes. So more of a texture, that thick batter is what you're looking for. This is real thick in there. See that? This is like, yes, that is the goods. That is awesome. So I think that's gonna be good for my whole wheat. I'm gonna feed the other two and talk about the rest. Okay, it seriously stinks. Just so you know, that's normal. So now I've fed them all. They're nice and thick. So for example, this is the mixed one. It's just super thick. Now we're gonna cover them loosely again. Cheesecloth, paper towel, whatever you have. I'm gonna cover them again and let them sit for another 24 hours. But while they're sitting, let's talk about some of the incredible health benefits that you're gonna get from the starter, because you might be like, well, this is too much work, I'm out. But I truly believe that if you understand why this is so good for you and the benefits it can bring to you and your health and your family, especially right now, then you'll stick with it. You're more likely to stick it out. This is a skill. I'm just gonna tell you right now, especially if you're accustomed to making bread, this is going to be an adjustment for you. It is a skill, it's a different method for sure. It's alive, it's finicky, you know, one day it's great, the next day it's like, no thanks, I'm not today. So I'm gonna walk you through all of that, but first let's talk about the health benefits. Okay, we're gonna back up a little bit and I'm gonna give you a history lesson on commercial yeast. You're gonna get all the good stuff, right? This is the part of the class you want to pay attention to. So 1870s France, all right? There were a couple of brothers who developed a method to extract certain types of yeast, right? And then start producing them. So they were doing that in France. Meanwhile, obviously competition started in the US and the Fleischmann brothers, don't know if you've heard of them, but they developed yeast cakes, right? These are little cakes that had to be refrigerated, but they became a household name basically overnight because they took them to this huge fair in Philadelphia and it went bonkers, right? And people were like, wait, what? I don't have to feed this guy, I can just buy this yeast cake and use that when I need it? Okay. So it seemed simpler, right? It seemed easy. We want the next best easy thing to cut all the corners. So the yeast cakes became a thing. And then during war times, World War II, they're like, okay, we need to develop something that can be shipped, right? That doesn't need to be refrigerated. We can ship it to soldiers overseas. There's this problem, like our soldiers need bread, we've got to develop something. So they developed active dry yeast, right? So they developed the active dry yeast and that was great and everyone was getting their bread in a few hours and it was amazing, right? Saving moms everywhere time and all the housewives were rejoicing. Then, oh, there's my laundry. Then in 1984, they developed rapid rise yeast. So now you can have bread in an hour, right? It's great. Even faster, even better, right? So that was kind of the progression of commercial yeast. In just kind of slowly, this went by the wayside. It's just now coming back, and I'm thrilled to see so many people talking about it now, because when I started talking about it, it was like, you crazy. Like, I'm not gonna feed something that's alive. So I'm so glad there's so many resources for you now, those of you who wanna get going with this. So the rapid rise yeast and the active dry yeast and all these things that were developed, right, it seemed awesome and great, but like I talked about before with that phytic acid, if that's the only thing that this does, that's huge to release all the nutrients that those grains are holding on to that we're not getting. We're not getting the full effect of our grains if we're not preparing them properly. So this is really important. Now I'm going to tell you about the other benefits of it because they are incredible and I'm about to blow your mind. Okay, so one of the other things that this starter does is it pre-digests the starches in the grains. So if you know a diabetic, raise your hand, they can eat this bread. It will not make their blood sugar shoot up. It lowers the glycemic response of the body to this bread. Okay, this is huge. I'm gonna reiterate it and say it again. Like, if you know a diabetic, you know that like white bread is like a no-no, right? Because as soon as that bread goes into their system, their blood sugar goes through the roof. But what the starter does is it pre-digests those starches. It's like, here you go, right? Like, this is so much easier. Take this, it's not gonna make your blood sugar shoot up. It's incredible. So it lowers the glycemic response of the body to what you consume made with your starter. Let's talk about carbs, because questions about a lower carb bread, I get it, it's a thing. What this does is it lowers the body's glycemic response, right, to the bread you eat. But not only that, but studies have been done and shown that it also lowers your body's glycemic response to all the other carbs you consume hours and hours later. So for your next couple of meals, after you eat that slice of sourdough toast in the morning, your next couple of meals, any carbs that you consume, your body's glycemic response is lowered to those. Do you understand what this means? It's huge. Lowers your body's glycemic response to all other carbs, not just this bread. Yay, it's good for you, awesome. But everything else you eat for the next several hours that has carbs in it, your body's like, oh yeah, I got this, I'm good. It's incredible. It also, you don't eat as much of this. It helps you feel fuller longer. I'm not gonna talk about weight loss or anything like this magic bread will make you lose weight, but you do eat less of it. It helps keep you fuller longer. It just like keeps you satisfied and satiated, which is amazing. Okay, let's talk about gluten because I know you're here for it. I'm here for it. This was important to me. So let's talk about gluten. It's a very hard to digest protein. I don't care if you feel you don't have an issue with it. It's hard on our system. It's hard to digest. Even if you're like, oh, I have the guts of steel. I can eat whatever I want. Nothing bothers me. I promise you something's going on in there if you're consuming a lot of gluten that isn't prepared properly through methods like these, or soaking, or sprouting, or those types of things. Okay, gluten is like a 2x4, okay? It's like one you pulled out of the junkyard with rusty nails sticking out and splinters, and it's hideous, and it looks terrible, right? When you put that and swallow that 2x4, and it is like a super abrasive on your system. Just imagine this, okay? So your smooth, beautiful intestinal system is just getting torn up and it's like, what is happening? I can't, I'm not made for this, right? I'm not made to digest rusty nails and splinters. That is like what gluten does in your body, right? It is very hard to digest. The body it's not made to do that. So you need to take that 2x4 and polish it down, pull the nails out, get some sandpaper, right? Put a nice coat of varnish on it. Obviously, you're not gonna swallow 2x4, but just making it more easy to smooth through and go through your system. That is what this starter does to grains. It breaks down that gluten and says, here you go, just easily digestible. I'm not gonna hurt you. I promise, it's great, it's fine, okay? So that is how this helps with gluten and why so many who are gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant can easily tolerate anything made with the starter, okay? So that's a huge one. I really wanna touch on a last thing. There's many benefits, right? It's incredible, you've already seen. I hope that makes you stick it out to be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a superfood. The last thing I want to say is you might hear like, oh, it's probiotic, right? Like, yay, my bread is probiotic. This is amazing. I don't have to drink kombucha or kefir or take my supplement. Okay, yes, the starter is probiotic, right? The starter is amazing and it's probiotic and it is fermented. The bread is not. You are not getting probiotics from your sourdough bread. Okay, the minute you put it in that oven, it's gonna kill off the probiotics. But the fact that you are using a fermented probiotic substance and making your bread from that does have benefits. Your bread has prebiotics, right? It's actually self-preserving. You're gonna find that your sourdough doesn't go moldy as fast as anything else, if it lasts that long. My bread has never lasted long enough for me to truly test this theory, but it's self-preserving. It's almost like it's alive. After it's been cooked, it has prebiotics, right? And that is the food that your digestive system needs, that good bacteria needs to maintain the balance of your gut. So many benefits, you guys. It's incredible. I hope you stick with it. I hope this was helpful. Shoot me all your questions in the comments, please. My DMs are getting a little crazy. So in the comments, I'll go back through these videos and watch those as well. But day 3, here we go.